My name is Dr. Nicole Cvenkel, but you can call me Nicole. Today, I'm really excited to share, as Stephanie said, embracing wellness, an introduction to self-care, stress relief, and mindfulness from a student perspective. And the information I'm going to share with you today is because I will use case studies, and I'm going to use myself as a case study when I was a student, as well as a professor. I had a lot of engagement with students. I taught students from college and university at different levels. So I have a wide range of knowledge as a student, as well as a professor. So it's really important, and I'm excited about sharing with you the information I have to share today. I'm a mentor, and I'm really excited and privileged to be a mentor and to be able to share my knowledge and help whichever student that is assigned to me. I wish I had this sort of resources and this sort of support when I was a student. And so without further ado, let me share my screen. And let's see. Is everyone seeing this? Yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let me start from there. Let me do the slideshow. Great. So we're going to talk about, of course, embracing wellness, introduction to self-care, stress relief, and mindfulness. What does this mean? You know, as a student, there's lots of information that is shared with you as a student, but I want to share with you something that I hope will be very useful to you as a tool. In terms of embracing wellness, what does that mean? So I developed a sort of, from the information and the knowledge that I know, I developed what I call a model that I believe will help you as a student to be able to navigate all the challenges or everything that you have to face as you journey through your academic journey, as well as in your regular life. Now, for me, as a student, I believe being a student, one has to be a couple things. I just wrote down 4 points. Self-discipline. It's really important to be self-disciplined as a student because being self-disciplined will really help you to excel. Time management is another point. Strategic is a point. I actually wanted to put strategic as my first point, because everything that you do must be strategic and intentional. It must be strategic and intentional. As a student, you shouldn't just say, well, whatever happens, happens, because you have a goal at the end of your journey, and your goal is to excel. Your goal is not to, well, I just want to pass. Do you know how many students have told me that? Nicole, I just want to pass. I just want, Doctor, I was Batiste, and Dr. Batiste, I just want to pass. I said, no, you don't just want to pass, you want to excel. You're here to excel. And I hope that you are all here to excel. So what can we do, or what should we do to help us to excel? Not just to pass, but to excel, to get first-class honors in your degree, in your associate degree, your master's, your PhD, or your medical degree. Whatever you're pursuing, what do you need to do to be able to excel? And I'm going to tell you what. Okay, so we'll have a brief introduction as to what this notion of embracing well-being or wellness, and what does it mean in the context of a student. Then we're going to talk about, let me just move this aside, yes. Embracing, I call it an academic holistic well-being approach. So it's a model that I sort of put together, and I believe this model, hold on to this model, because this model will really help you navigate college and university life, as well as life beyond college and university. Then we're going to talk about some stress relief and self-care strategies. What do you need to do? What can you do to help you to minimize your stress levels and to avoid mental ill health? Mental ill health has become, unfortunately, so a buzzword post-COVID. Most people are struggling, and more so, a student at university or at college can actually slip into that threshold of experiencing mental ill health. So we want to make sure that you avoid these things. So we're going to talk about the strategies that you can use to avoid them. Then, of course, most importantly, how do you manage college and university exams. Very, very important. Again, you should be strategic and intentional, and I will share with you in terms of what you can do. And of course, I have some takeaways, which like buzzwords or takeaway phrases, which I believe can really help you in good stead. And then, of course, we'll summarize and conclude, and then we'll have questions and answers at the end. Okay? So, wellness. Embracing wellness as a college or university student is essential for maintaining overall health and well-being while navigating the demands of academic life. And it can be very challenging. Some of you might be in full-time education. Most of you would be in full-time education. So full-time education usually have like, your workload is usually 3 to 5 courses per semester. So that's a heavy workload. And some of you may have part-time jobs. Some of you may have families, et cetera, et cetera. Life continues. Life doesn't stop. So it's very important for you to navigate everything and manage everything. So as I said, I developed I call it the academic well-being holistic model or approach that encompasses, you need to take care of your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health and well-being. How do you balance your academic life with your personal life? How do you get support and embrace the support that are available, or seek out support that's available to help you? How do you practice mindfulness? How do you embrace and maintain and grow healthy relationships? How do you maintain realistic expectations for yourself? Then we're going to talk about self-care, personal growth, and proactive healthcare. So these are the approaches that I framed under the umbrella for, and I call it academic well-being holistic approach or model. This is very important, I believe, for you to help you be able to thrive and exceed and succeed and excel at university as well as life outside of university. So let's start with each of these domains that's in this model. And so I will define what each of the domains are. And I'll also give you examples of myself as when I was a student, as well as the students that I've actually, come into contact with. And I've taught hundreds of students actually. And I've come into contact with so many different students from different parts of the world, different ages, different stages, different experiences. So I'm very thankful for that experience. So without further ado, physical health is very, very important. So prioritizing physical health is crucial. It involves balancing your nutritious diets, eating like whole foods, fruits and vegetables and proteins, just really good things. Because there's lots of research that has been done that says that people who eat, and students tend to eat really poorly because we're always on the move and we're always short of time. So we tend to grab onto fast foods or grab onto things that I call cheap and cheerful. So like the KFC, the McDonald's, the Wendy's, et cetera, et cetera. So those things are not really good for our health, but there's research that says that those things contribute to anxiety and depression and poor mental health, especially for students. So we should try to avoid these things, engage in regular exercises, yoga, walking, swimming, any sort of exercise routine that you think would be good for you or that you enjoy. And even if you don't really like to exercise, well, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs, just try to move. Movement is very important in terms of maintaining our physical health, getting adequate sleep, staying hydrated. Try to drink enough water. Some people, like myself included, sometimes I get very busy that I don't drink enough water. So use simple strategies and be intentional. You can get a bottle of water and put it at your desk or in front of your desk and say, okay, I must drink this entire bottle at the end of the day to make sure I get my full complement of water. So different strategies you can use. Establish healthy habits. Avoid excessive alcohol, avoid excessive smoking, substance abuse, drug abuse. So these things in combination will definitely help you to stay physically healthy and will promote your physical well-being. Then the second domain in the model is mental health. Very, very important. So college and university life can be stressful. So you want to avoid as much stress as possible. So you need to prioritize your mental health. That's very important. So there are essential things that you can do to prioritize and to make sure that your mental health stays positive and your mental well-being is positive. So manage your stress effectively. Ensure that you manage your self-care, look after yourself, eat well. And you can do some coping mechanisms like mindfulness. Mindfulness is an intentional approach to mindful cognitive approach in terms of how you express yourself and how you experience your environment. So you can do some mindful approach like meditation and yoga and things like that to sort of help navigate a positive mental health approach. You know, sometimes as students, we can find ourselves becoming overwhelmed. I remember when I was a student, I didn't have the knowledge that I had now. And I was a bit of a worrier. I worried whether I was good enough, whether I would be able to pass my classes, whether I'd be able to do a good job in terms of studying and producing my assignments or the exams to meet the criteria. But you don't have to worry, and you don't have to cause yourself to become mentally unwell or cause yourself to be depressed or anxious. All you have to do is be strategic. And these are the things that I'm sharing with you now that will help you to be strategic and will help you to navigate the challenges of university life so that you will excel. So taking care of yourself and taking care of your mental health is very important. The third point is your emotional well-being. Addressing your emotional well-being will help you stay positive, stay happy, stay confident. It will help you to remain resilient, meaning it doesn't matter what will come your way, you'll still be able to pick yourself back up again, and you'll still be able to keep moving forward. Emotional well-being is also built by seeking support from friends or colleagues or professionals like your professors or your tutors, your support groups, your family, wherever you can find your mentors. From the BBPA, we are your mentors, so you can seek support from us. The support that we will give you through our mentorship, through our sharing and support, will help with your emotional well-being so you don't suffer in silence. So these sort of social connections and nurturing and supportive relationships will help improve and strengthen your emotional well-being, and by extension, strengthen your confidence and your ability to function successfully at university. The fourth point, being able to balance your academic life and your personal life. Life doesn't stop whilst you're at college or university. Some of you may have a family of your own. You may have children. These things, you have to balance these things. One of the things I usually used to share with my students, try not to, whilst you're at college or university, try not to get involved in things that can cause you to become derailed. So for example, I used to tell my students, okay, if you're not in a relationship, please don't try to get into a relationship whilst at university or college. Wait until after you've attained your goal, then you can do that. If you are in a relationship, try not to say, oh, I'm going to get married. These things tend to be stressful things and emotional things that can easily derail you at university. So try to avoid stressful things. Try to manage the things that are happening in your life to balance your work and your life. So, for example, some factors, students should strive to manage your time effectively. So at university, if it is you like socializing with friends, you like going to parties, you like going to clubs, whatever you like, you're a sports person, you like going to the gym, whatever the extracurricular activities that you may have in your life, it's very important to manage them. So whilst at university or college or university, it's important to allocate certain times for everything. Social life is important. So you can't say, okay, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to see my boyfriend or my husband. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. That will cause you to be under stress and it will affect your studies. But you do things in moderation. So that's very, very important. So you prioritize your tasks. You have a task for work. You have a task for university or college. You have a task for socializing. You have a task for sleeping. So you compartmentalize your life to ensure that you can manage all of them or balance all these different tasks, the task that makes you uniquely you, and to ensure that you can still function and succeed at university. Avoid excessive stress or burnout. If it is you don't manage these things, you will find yourself to be burnt out. I remember this point just came to me. I remember when I was actually pursuing my MBA, I was doing full-time university and I had 3 jobs and I went to school full-time. This is not me telling you to have 3 jobs and go to school full-time, because it's addressing the third point: avoid excessive stress and burnt out. I became burnt out. At that time I needed to work. One job was to pay my fees. The second job was to pay my accommodation. And the third job was to make sure I could buy my food and purchase my travel pass to get to all my different jobs and university. My parents didn't have the money to send me to university, so I had to take myself through university. And I was really stressed. So managing oneself and managing one's life and university is very, very important for success. And for me, I lost a lot of weight. Well, that may not have been a bad thing, but my hair started to fall out. That was bad. It was bad for my health and well-being. My face broke out with acne. Of course, that was not good for my health and well-being. And I got an ulcer. So I ended up in the hospital. Of course, again, not good for my health and well-being. So the stress was so much for me when I was a student in that particular aspect of my student life. So it affected me, and I burnt out and I ended up in hospital and stuff like that. So I'm sharing this experience to help you understand, and I'm sure you do, the importance of balancing one's personal life with one's academic life. Set SMART goals for yourself. So SMART is an acronym for be specific in what you want to attain. If what you want to attain this academic semester, which is September to December, if you want to attain A grades in all 3 to 5 courses, what do you need to do to enable you to be able to do that? Whatever goals you set for yourself, you must be able to be met. It must be measurable. I.e., how will I be able to measure that I am in fact meeting these goals? So you can set your internal goals. So, for example, you can say to yourself, well, I can measure my success by ensuring that I allocate time every day to study, to ensuring that I can measure my success, like perhaps I will do past papers and see how well I do on the past papers, if I need to study more, if I need to study less, which area of this program is easier for me in terms of the information or the dissemination of the information, which subjects or topics I find more difficult, and whichever topics I find more difficult, I know I'll have to allocate more time to make sure I clearly understand it. These things are important. Your goals must be attainable. How can you attain the goals? Well, at university, to be able to attain good grades, one has to invest the time in attaining good grades. So perhaps going to that party on Friday night, if you have an exam on Monday, may not be the best choice in your time management skills. So things like that. So you make sure you manage your time effectively. And of course, your goals must be timely. Your timelines would be, of course, each academic semester. Because each academic semester, you have certain courses. And of course, you want to make sure you put the time in, the effort in to be able to ensure that you're successful. And then setting boundaries, very, very important. And most of us find this very challenging. Learn how to say no. You know, if you don't have the time, you just don't have the time. Politely say no. I'm so sorry, I wouldn't be able to assist you at this time because I have to study, or, you know, I have something to do. Even at work, you know, don't take on extra duties. Let your work colleagues or your supervisor know that you are at school, you're at college or university. And of course, go to work and do the work that you've been paid for. Be diligent in everything that you're doing, but don't take on, if they call upon you to do extra work, you can say, no, on this occasion, normally I'd love to do that, but on this occasion I have to say no because I have an exam coming shortly, or things like that. So this is some of the things that you can do to balance your personal life as well as your academic life. Seek support. Don't suffer in silence. you're fortunate enough that you have sought support through the BBPA mentorship program, and you have all been assigned a mentor, which is great. And so your mentor will help with that level of support that you'd need. But in addition to the BBPA mentorship, all colleges and universities have a range of support mechanisms to help students. So you have counseling services, you have financial aid, you have academic advising and support, career counseling and writing support. If you're finding that if your course requires you to critically discuss or to analyze, that will require you being able to express your thoughts in writing. So sometimes you might need some academic support or writing support to be able to know how to structure your report or structure an essay, et cetera, et cetera. So tap into these things. Then you have peer support, student nights out, very, very important. You have potlucks, the Afro-Caribbean nights, study groups, churches, student churches, lots of different supports. So whatever appeals to you, tap into the necessary support. You have health centers, wellness centers, accessibility centers, international student support, very, very important as well. Health services, residential life. So these are just a few of the support mechanisms. So I often tell my students, don't suffer in silence. Don't wait until 2 or 3 days or even a week before the exam to say, hey, I need support. I didn't understand this theory or this concept. I need support. Then it will be almost too late. So seek support early. And if it is you're struggling with something, or you find understanding something a bit challenging, get the support. Go to your professors, talk to them. And there's nothing wrong with you. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't understand. Can you help me understand this better? There's nothing wrong, because we all have different learning styles, and perhaps the style in which the information was shared with the class was different to your learning style. So if you reach out to your professors or your tutors early and you say to them, I did not understand this concept, this information that was shared with me, can you please help me to understand it? That's the best approach to help you in terms of becoming very strong at what you're doing, learning the new information shared, and that you can thrive and excel at your exams. Practicing mindfulness, very, very important. So mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and engaged in the current moment. It involves your thoughts and your feelings and your sensations about your environment. So being mindful of who you are, being mindful that, okay, I have to balance my work and life. I am now at college or I'm at university, and I have to have some sort of strategy that will help me to cope well with this new workload or these challenges that I will experience, or just academic life. So some mindfulness practices will help you with that. And mindfulness practices will help you to remove any sort of anxiety that you would have, to reduce your stress, and also to improve your overall performance and your mental ability and your cognitive ability, to help you to navigate the demands of academic life. So some mindfulness practices include meditation and deep breathing exercises. The deep breathing really works for me. So just breathe in and breathe out. Just deep breathing exercises. It's very simple, but it has such a wonderful outcome. Taking some time to be mindful. Notice the beauty around you. We're going into winter, snow is beautiful. Just spend some time. It doesn't have to be lots, 5 to 10 minutes a day. Listen to some soothing music. We all have different genres. Some people study to certain music. I used to love to study to either Christian music or classical music. It relaxes me and it helps me to study. Very, very soft music, instrumental music as well. I don't need words when I'm reading, but instrumental music playing softly in the background helps me to relax, and it helps me to study. Whatever helps you to study and keeps you relaxed, it's very, very important that you know what they are, or you're mindful of what they are, and you can embrace these practices to help you study and to keep you focused, and so that you'll excel. Mindful eating. Watch what you eat. Pay attention to what you eat. Nutritious diets. Pay attention to your foods and your flavors. Enjoy your meals. You know, as students, we tend to rush, eat quickly because we're eating on the move, or we're eating before a class, or we're just eating on the go. No, take your time out. Take 15 to 20 minutes. Some people need 30 minutes, and sit and have your meal and enjoy your meal. Mindful affirmations. Say positive things about yourself. I am good enough. I can do this. I will excel at this exam. I have what it takes. Positive affirmation. Look at yourself. I used to look at myself in the mirror every day, and I still do it up to today, especially if I'm feeling tired and if I feel a little down. That's the time I do it, just to keep me confident and to keep myself motivated, to keep moving forward and to keep going forward. So that's very important. Mindfulness, mindful reading helps you to reduce stress and improve focus and relaxation. Do you like to read? Some people like to read actual physical books. Some people like to read audiobooks. Whatever it is that makes you happy and puts you at peace. Some people like reading comic books. So whatever it is that will help you to sort of relax, you can do that intentionally or mindfully. Mindful listening helps reduce frustration. So your mindful listening, when you have your mentor-mentee engagement with your BBPA mentor, just mindful listening in terms of the engagement or your connection with your mentor will really help you as well. And I call it the gratitude practice. Be grateful. Find something in your day to be grateful for. Sometimes you don't feel like it, but find something. We're grateful to be alive. Thank you, Lord, I'm alive today. I'm not hooked up to a machine. I'm not dead. I have life. There is life at the end of this journey, and I will thrive and I will enjoy the life that I have. Find something to be grateful about. All this incorporates mindfulness. And incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine can help reduce stress and improve your overall well-being, your overall health and well-being. Mindfulness and stress management. Mindfulness helps you to manage your stress. So such like meditation and deep breathing and exercises help reduce stress and overall mental clarity and promote emotional balance. So once you start practicing these mindfulness practices or strategies, it really helps with your overall stress levels, and it helps you to promote well-being and wellness, because overall stress or chronic stress can be detrimental to your physical health and your mental health and your overall well-being. So we have to try as very, very hard and as much as possible to avoid any excessive stress or any sort of chronic stress and burnout in our lives, not just at university, but in our lives as a whole. Because lots of people are actually really going through a lot of challenges because of the excessive stresses that we are experiencing in the world. The world has become much more stressful, but you want to sort of manage those stresses, especially at college or university. And of course, building healthy relationships is the seventh domain that one should embrace to have that overall wellness at university. So nurturing healthy relationships with friends, family, peers, and your professors is essential for promoting wellness at university. Now, some students think that they could never be friends with their professors, and that's not true. In fact, I have a student that I have been her friend, or she has been my friend. I think she's befriended me, but we've been friends for like 25 years. I taught her at university, and she was one of the older students in the class. The first class she came to me and she said, Miss, she used to call me Miss. She still calls me Miss, although she's older than me. And she said, I am the oldest student in this class and I really don't want to be here. And she said, but my employer sent me here to take this course. And I said, well, great, they did a good job, and I hope you enjoy it. And she did. And she passed really well, and she went on to excel. She's now retired because I've known her for 25 years. And I am happy to have had the opportunity to know her. And I believe, based on what she said, she enjoyed the relationship with me because I always challenge her to be the best that she can be. So don't avoid relationships or the opportunity to form meaningful and lasting relationships, not only with your peers, but also with your professors, because you never know where life will take you. So tap in, form lasting, and try to build lasting relationships with your professors, build strong networks that will provide you with support. Study groups is very, very good and important to help you to thrive at university. I often used to tell my students, don't suffer in silence. And I'll say the same to you, don't suffer in silence. Reach out, form the relationship, form that level of connectivity, because that level of connectivity will help you to navigate through university as well as in your personal life. So at the BBPA, the mentor that you've been assigned, reach out to that person, engage within that that relationship, and let that person help you navigate through whatever you're going through. A sense of belonging. Relationships help you to have that sense of belonging, that sense of connectivity, that sense of connectedness with someone or with a group. So that's very, very important. And building strong networks can help you. It can help encourage you. It can help you in challenging times as well. So that's very, very important. Never dam any bridges that you can cross, because you never know if that bridge will be required in the future. So strong relationships are very, very important. Setting realistic expectations for yourself. Don't set goals that is too much or too heavy or unrealistic. So set yourself. So for example, if you recognize that your personal life has a lot of challenges, i.e., you may be a family, you might have a family, or you require to work a little longer hours, etc. Perhaps taking a full course load may not be the best option for you for this semester or for a semester. So think about perhaps having taking 3 courses as opposed to 5 might be a better workload for you. So knowing yourself is very important, and setting realistic expectations. So understanding, so it's really important for you to be able to do that. So setting realistic expectations. And if it is you need help, or you've done something wrong, or you need a break, take a break. Because all that is part of your mental health. Know when to take breaks, actually. I see a hand raised.
Yes, it's me, Dr. Nicole. Sorry, Nicole. I thought it would be a good time when you said take a break for me to ask all of the participants to check their direct messages in the chat. We have sent you a little gift from Starbucks.
Oh.
So hopefully you can take a break with that. So on that note, back to you.
Thank you. Excuse me. That's wonderful. Take a break with Starbucks, guys. That's a wonderful thing to do. So yeah, so take a break. If you have to go to Starbucks, I used to actually it wasn't Starbucks, I used to go to Second Cup. And I used to take a break. And this was my break. I used to order a skinny muffin because I was always concerned about my weight. I used to take a skinny muffin and a hot chocolate. And that was my break. And I used to go there once or twice a week, because of course I was a poor student just trying to balance money. But that was my outing, and that was my break. And I would sit and I'll consume my hot chocolate and my skinny muffin, and I would observe people and look at people and laugh. I like to look at babies because I think babies are cute. So that was sort of mindful intentional de-stressing approach that I took for myself to help me sort of remove my mind temporarily from the stress of academic work or anything I was feeling challenged about as I was at university, and to sort of refocus my mind on something that will make me relax and help me to de-stress. And then after that, I was energized or re-energized to continue moving forward. So remember to take take breaks to remove the pressure from your life, okay? And you have your Starbucks voucher or whatever it is, so that's great. So tap into that. Self-care, very, very, very important. Number 9, prioritize self-care is essential for embracing wellness for students. I can't emphasize this enough, because most of the time as students, we treat ourselves pretty badly unknowingly. Because the goal at hand is always to, okay, I have to go to this class, I have to get A's in this class, I must succeed, etc., etc. These things are important, yes, because you have to remain committed and engaged, but not at the cost of your health. As I shared with you with my lack of self-care when I was at university, I ended up in the hospital for a week, an entire week. So my sister is a nurse, and she often says to me, she said, Nicole, the body is designed to now help you to function. She said, but if you put the body under excessive stress, the body will shut you down to preserve itself. And it's exactly right. Because when I ended up in hospital for a week, nothing matters. I was too sick to do anything. Yes. So make sure you take care. Self-care is extremely important, and not just for university. This is for life on its own. We have to be intentional and mindful in terms of how we care for ourselves. So some tips. It's like regular exercises, getting enough sleep, very important as students. It's the balance, and that's why you have to be strategic, because sometimes, research shows that each person should get 8 hours sleep per day or per night. Usually as students, sometimes we cannot afford the luxury of 8 hours sleep, but try not to just get 2 hours sleep. Try to manage your time sufficiently, perhaps during the day, like you study more during the day, so you can sleep better at night, or you can get the full 8 hours sleep at night. But just be mindful and intentional and strategic in terms of how you manage your time to make sure you get enough sleep. And finding ways to manage your stress, because sleep helps to rejuvenate your minds cognitively. It helps you to retain information that you've learned, and it helps you to be able to remember the information and to be able to function effectively in your courses at university. So this is very important, self-care. Personal growth and self-improvement. So at college and university, it's all geared towards personal growth. So as a student with personal growth, it helps with your overall well-being. So you would learn new skills, you have new knowledge, you have new talents at college and university, and this will bring a sense of achievement, accomplishment, confidence. So this, of course, will fill you with joy and fulfillment once you see that you're excelling and you've gotten A's in your exams. That helps to build your motivation and your confidence, and it helps to take you to the next level. So that's why it's important to that personal growth and personal improvement and self-improvement helps you to maintain your overall well-being. It gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of identity. It gives you a sense of confidence to help to take you through. So keep that in mind. Make sure you keep your whatever personal goals and academic goals that you've set for yourself. Work towards attaining them. And if you embrace all these points that I'm talking to you about in the model, the academic well-being model, it will help you to be able to attain these points. Then proactive about preventive healthcare. This is very, very important, and it's often not spoke about enough in my view. Preventive healthcare is important. So for me, again, with my example, if I took better care of myself when I was at university, I would not have ended up in the hospital. And preventive, so not because you're a student, you should ignore your health. So for the ladies and the gents, get your regular checkups, schedule your screenings, maintain open communication with your GP or the college or university nurses or doctors, but just be proactive. Don't ignore your health. Make sure that you're mentally and physically healthy. If you find that you're experiencing certain challenges, like, for example, some students get lots of headaches. Sometimes it's linked to anxiety or tension or different challenges. Tap into that. Get some medical help. with that. So don't ignore your health. Be proactive. Be proactive in terms of your health, because, for example, some college courses takes 2 years. Some university courses takes 4 years. In some cases, 5, 6 years. Are you going to ignore your health for between 2 to 6 years? So be proactive with that, and make sure that you taking care of your physical and mental health is part of your overall wellness and health and well-being regime. So in addition to understanding, we went through all of these things to take care of our health and wellness regime. Stress relief and self-care strategies are very, very important. How do we relieve stress? Now we're talking about from a university perspective, but life is stressful. And the notion of how to relieve stress and how to care for ourselves is a question that you'll always have until forever. And these are some of the things some of the strategies that you can actually practice and implement to help you. So of course, time management. It's time management is something, it may sound easy, but it's sometimes difficult to implement. Each day we have 24 hours in our day. What do you do with your 24 hours that will make it count? It's intentional. How can you intentionally spend your 24 hours to ensure that it counts, to ensure that you put the best possible effort that you can put into your day to make sure that you thrive at university? As I'm saying that to you, I remember one student, I was supervising him for his MBA dissertation, his thesis. And every appointment I had with him, he never showed up. And I sent him an email. I said, well, if you don't show up, I'll remove you from the course. He showed up. And so when he showed up, I asked him, well, why is it that you're not coming to your appointments? And his response to me was, well, miss, I'm working. And I said, that's not an excuse. I said, you did not. And he was an international student. I said, you told me when I first met you that your parents mortgaged their house to give you the money to pursue your MBA. What will you tell your parents when you do not pass this course? Would you tell them that you were working? So these are pointed questions, but it's very, very important. How do you manage your time? If you're working, yes, I know we all need to work, but you have to manage. You'll have to come to a point where you have to say, okay, if I need to pass my course, if I need to work on my dissertation, my exams are coming soon, whatever it is in my academic life, whatever I need to do, whatever input I need to put in, I have to. It's not if or whether I should. You have to put in that time in order to be successful. So prioritizing one's time is very, very important. So if you're working, well, students are entitled to 20 hours a week within term time. And that 20 hours is considered sufficient. Lots of research was done to come up with that 20 hours during term time to help you to be able to work as well as to be able to go to school full time. So stick to your 20 hours and use the rest of the time to focus on your studies as well as your life. So it's balancing life. Prioritize sleep, make sure you get enough sleep. Physical activity, make sure you move. Not everyone are gym bugs. Not everyone likes to walk. Well, we should all like to walk, but not everyone would like to take a walk in the park, for example. Now it's colder. You can go swimming. You can do exercises right in your room. If you're at the university dorm, you can stretch. You can do differently, but just move. The body needs movement to stay strong and healthy. That's part of wellness. Eat healthy. Try to make better choices. Be mindful eating. Try to make better choices in terms of what you eat and practice a healthy lifestyle. Excessive caffeine is not good. Excessive alcohol, and try to avoid drugs and substance abuse. And so just try to take an overall healthy lifestyle approach. Do things that will help you relax, like meditation and use listening to music, as the picture of the girl suggests, I'm a listening to music type of person. It always relaxes me, and it helps me to think, and it helps me to focus. Whatever relaxes you, you know yourself, tap into what those things are. Use the supportive resources that's available at university, at BBPA. Tap into all these support. Whatever hobbies you like, tap into those. Connect with your peer groups. Don't suffer in silence. Don't become isolated. Don't allow yourself to become isolated. Usually I've experienced with students, some students, you just stop seeing them at the classes. And then for me, some professors, well, they'll say, okay, the student is absent. But for me, I'm a little more intentional, because I take it very seriously when a student is assigned to me. So if I don't see you after 2 tries, after 2 classes, I will reach out to you. Some professors are like that and some aren't. And I would reach out to you, and I would ask you, well, why aren't you attending the class? Some students don't attend classes because they think that the information shared is too hard. They think that they're too far behind. They think all sorts of things. Again, don't suffer in silence. Reach out. Ask your professors or the support groups. If you've missed a class, connect with your professor. Ask for the notes. Ask for the PowerPoints. Try to form a study group or be part of a study group so that your peers can help you to get up to date with what you've missed, etc., etc. And try not to miss too many classes as well, because you will definitely fall behind if you do so. Find time for rest and relaxation. Very, very important. Whatever makes you happy. For me, I like to look at a good movie. That makes me happy. That causes me to relax. Or I take power naps, 20 minutes, and I set my timer on my phone. When after that 20 minutes, I feel refreshed and I can go again. So whatever works for you, again, set realistic goals, seek professional help and support if you need it. So you have counselors at university, you have your mentors at BBPA, and whatever other professional help you may need. If you need medical professional help, seek those out. Manage your stress effectively. Don't allow yourself to become overwhelmed. You could say no, set boundaries. That's a way of managing your stress. Set boundaries. Learn to say no for now. Yes? And reflect and recharge. You can, some students are reflective thinkers. So they need to sort of reflect on the information that has been shared in a class and be able to understand the connection, or be able to bridge the theory, practice these divide with the information that they received and how they can apply that information to life or a case study. Set some time to allow yourself to reflect on the information that has been shared in the classroom. Strategies to avoid mental ill health. So of course, this is something we definitely want to avoid. We want to make sure that we have positive mental health at all times. So some of the strategies: building positive networks and avoid isolation. So the BBPA have that framework for you in terms of the mentor-mentee relationship. So that will help you to build that support and positive networking, positive support networks, and will avoid isolation. Because some people are introverts. If you're an extrovert, usually it's not hard for you to make friends or for you to give your opinion, etc., etc. But if you're an introvert, that may be a little more difficult for you. So you don't have to suffer in silence. You tap into all the different support mechanisms that's there for you. And that will help to reduce your stress. It will help you to think better of yourself. It will help you to focus and be able to give more energy and more effort towards your courses, and to be able for you to help you balance your work life and be able to thrive at college or university. So other strategies to avoid mental ill health: peer groups, peer support groups. It's like the churches. Like I remember when I was a student, the first thing I would do when I get to the university, I would tap into the church groups, because I'm a Christian. So I'll tap into the church groups because I needed to feel connected. That sense of connectivity, especially for international students, because you're not at home. You're not with your peer groups. And even if you are at home and you are at home, tap into what works for you. Church groups, support groups, sports, activities, study groups, whatever works for you. I am still friends with my church group because we're all students, because it was the church group attached to the university. And I'm still friends with them 15 years on. We've gotten married, we've had children and stuff, and we're still friends. So it really helps with your mental health. Sometimes when we have alumni groups, or when we have meetings, we laugh and we talk about how it was when we were students. So these things are very, very important for one's overall health and well-being. So tap into that. Set clear academic expectations for yourself. Don't give yourself too much of a burden or too much of a heavy workload that can negatively affect you or negatively affect your performance. Financial wellness. Tap into any sort of financial literacy programs that your college or university has, and any support that they may have as well. The BBPA, there were some scholarships. Most of you got scholarships and things like that. So tap into all these things to sort of help with your financial wellness. Anti-bullying and harassment policies. Tap into those things at university or the colleges. Sometimes I know for students, you might have some challenges with you may have some professors or even tutors that may not be the most helpful. One of my suggestions is that try, even if you don't seek or you don't get the sufficient help from your professors or your tutors, there's always support that you can go, always different opportunities for support that you can access. So don't worry too much about whether the professor is not giving you the support that you need. Just find support elsewhere. And usually there's always a student body, a student union that can help you or direct you, point you in the right direction. And fortunately for you, you have your BBPA mentors that will help you as well. We're here to help you because we want to see you succeed. We want to see you thrive, and we want you to be the best you that you can be. So we're here to do that, and we're committed to do that. So we have mental health awareness. Make sure you're aware that, and this mental health awareness is very important because sometimes we're not even aware that we're becoming mentally unwell. Sometimes we're not aware that we might be actually depressed, or we might be actually experiencing some level of anxiety. We know cognitively, we know that, oh, something is wrong, or I know that I'm under stress because I have exams, but it may be deeper than that. So and that's where the mindfulness comes in. So be mentally aware that of yourself, of your person, whether you think you need some support, you might need some medical support, you might need some coping mechanisms. So be aware of yourself. And sleeping habits is very important. Try not to be sporadic with your sleeping habits. Be intentional with your sleeping habits. Make sure that you get enough sleep, whether it's 7 to 8 hours sleep. So for example, I had a student, actually one of my colleagues who, well, we were at university together, and I had a student. She was very, very intentional with her sleep hygiene. She would say to me, Miss or Nicole, I go to bed every night at 10 p.m., sorry. And she gets up every morning at 5. I said, really? I said, so if you're going out, she said, well, if I'm going out, she said, I make sure I'm home before 10. She said, because my sleep day is at 10. My sleep time is at 10 p.m. And I get up I start my day early. So I get my full 8 hours sleep, and I'm revived and fresh, and I'm ready to go again. And that student excelled. She got a first-class honors in her master's degree. I think she went on to do her PhD. She excelled because she was intentional. She was intentional in what she did. She was intentional in terms of how she used her time management, her sleep habits, exercise and movement, substance use, education. Make sure you make sure that all the information that you need, that you have that information. Crisis interventions, protocols, all these things, universities and colleges do have these things. at their beck and call, at their disposal to help you. Try to avoid substance abuse. Try to avoid friends that do substance abuse and encourages you to do substance abuse. I remember myself as a student, we want to fit in, you have your peers, they started smoking, and I was never a smoker. I'm still not a smoker, but sometimes it moved at that point from regular cigarettes to at that point it was marijuana. No, marijuana is legal. So try to avoid things. And I remember in a group, and one of the students, he lit a marijuana, and he was passing it around, and it was passed to me. And I had the option, because it's really an option, you don't have to do it. I had the option whether I wanted to partake in that or not. And I just took it and I passed it to the next person, because I knew in myself, in my person, that I don't ever want to put that in my body. I could have, but I chose not to. I was intentional. I didn't want to put any sort of drugs in my body that will hinder my cognitive function or hinder me or my well-being for the rest of my life. So I decided not to. So make smart choices for yourself. Make smart choices in terms of your peers and who you consider your friends and who you make friends with. Make smart choices in terms of who people who would cause you to excel. I remember when I was a student, I didn't have the luxury of getting a scholarship. I didn't have the luxury of my parents paying for me. And I remember I was at the student dorm with some people who their government gave them the scholarship. I will never forget them as long as I live. I was and their scholarship was, their tuition and was fully paid. Their accommodation was fully paid, and they had huge stipends. Well, back then, I'm talking like 12 years ago or something like that, and longer. And I had to work, and I worked night shifts and all these things. But those students were very intelligent, because they were ministers of their government. So one was a finance minister from Kenya, and the other one was a education minister from I think it was Nigeria or some of those places. And I befriended them intentionally, and I to be part of their study group. And I learned a lot of things. Not only did I tap into their actual life and professional life experiences, but the way that they disseminated the information that we were all being taught, and how to understand that information more succinctly so that I can also excel. So that's when I say to you, you have to be strategic as a student. That's what I mean. Intentionally do things to make sure that you succeed. Not in a bad way, but form proper study groups. Befriend the brightest person in the class. I do that up to today. If I go to somewhere and I listen, I observe first. And if I perceive that I like the way a person thinks, and I like the way they see the world view, after the meeting, I will go and approach that person and have a conversation with that person, just to find out more about how their perspective on certain things. And at best, I'll develop and form a positive friendship. And at worst, you'll just stay as a colleague. But I know I'm intentional of getting to know that person so I can learn more, I can grow, I can develop, and I can be the best person that I can be. So as a student, that's what I think you should do. Now, strategies for managing college, university exams. Very, very important. Students tend to, again, I always say, don't suffer in silence. Don't wait too late, guys, to start studying for your exams. A week before the exam to start studying is way too late. Pace yourself. Create a study schedule. Let's say you right now for this academic year, every student know that they will have exams like the week of, I think, is the 10th to the 12th of December is when most college and universities will have exams. or you'll have to submit your research papers or whatever. So it's probably start studying now, actually, for that, because that's like 2 or 3 weeks away. So start studying, allocate your time, stick to it, and start studying for the exams. Prioritize and focus. Allocate more time for challenging subjects. If a subject is causing you a lot of challenge, use the time and use more time to allocate for it. Use active learning techniques. Summarize what was just said in the class. Teach the material to someone else. If you can teach a material to someone else, it means you know it and you understand it, right? Practice doing past papers. These things really help you. Taking regular breaks as well. Pace yourself. You don't study like for 8 hours straight. You will burn out, and after a while, you will not retain anything. Study like 1 hour slots. Take a 10 or 15-minute breaks after that 1 hour, and just return to the information. That's more effective. You will remember it because your mind and your body and your spirit is rested, and you will remember the information, as opposed to just saying, okay, I'm going to study for 4 hours or 8 hours straight. That strategy does not work. Stay organized. Study in a clean environment. I need to have a clean, organized environment. We're all different, whatever works for you. But research has shown that if an environment is organized and it's clean and there's less clutter, there's less distraction, and one's mind tends to be more attuned to producing more. That's why examination halls are never cluttered. Everything is very structured and neat, and everything is calm, because it's conducive for you to be able to really think and to produce at your highest potential. Seek help when needed. Don't suffer in silence. Get help now if you're finding that you're struggling with whatever thing that's happening right now, whatever course. If you're not understanding the teachers, please seek help. Okay, practice time management. What you can do, one strategy I used to often tell my student, practice how long it takes you to actually finish an exam. So do some past papers. See how well you do. See how long you take. So for example, another thing that I usually tell the students, and I practice it myself too. If you have a written exam, and if you have like 5 questions in your written exam, this is one of the things I would suggest. So if the exam is 2 hours and you have 5 questions, it means between 20 to 25 minutes per question. Allocate that 20 to 25 minutes per question. And after 25 minutes, move on to the second question. Don't stay like 45 minutes, an hour on one question, and then you're trying to move on and make up to answer 3 questions in 1 hour. Another strategy I usually tell my students, for each question, if you have a written exam, for each question, take 5 minutes for each question at the start of the exam. So if you have 25 minutes per question, take 5 minutes, so which means you have 20 minutes to write up your answer. But take 5 minutes. This is invaluable. It works. Take 5 minutes and prepare like a roadmap. A roadmap or a mind map of the key points that you need to answer the question. And then, so what that does, it does multiple things. It helps to collect your thoughts. It prepares you for what you need to write in your answer. And 3, if you perhaps run out of time, instead of leaving the question blank, if you write that mind map in the answer, it says to the examiner that you knew the answer, you knew the key points to discuss in the answer. It's just you didn't get the time to complete it. I've told students this. I have seen students embrace that point. So instead of getting 0 for that answer, you will at least, if I can see clearly that you have a thread of thought in terms of the points that you wanted to discuss in answering this question, you will receive marks. And I'm yet to see a professor that will not give a student marks for that. So that in itself sometimes might be the edge that you needed to pass the exam. So these are some strategies that you can do, and practicing time management will really help you to do that. Getting enough rest, staying physically active, eating healthily, managing your stress. These things help with meditation or mindfulness. It helps to keep the stress level down, as the case may be. Stay positive and confident. you know, the end is near. There is light at the end of the tunnel, guys. You will succeed. Stay positive. Review and revise. Prioritize revision and review key concepts. Arrive prepared. Get enough sleep. Come prepared. Have all your pens, pencils, whatever you need. Arrive prepared. Don't at the day of the exam, you know, you should be very organized and have a good breakfast in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever your exam is. Just arrive prepared. Utilize your time wisely during the exam, as I shared with you. Double check your work, even if it's a multiple choice exam. Even if there's a particular question that you don't understand, you can leave that for last. And at the end of the exam, before you submit your exam, just go back to those questions. And by the process of elimination, you can actually eliminate the incorrect answers and try to focus on perhaps the correct answer, even if you don't know it. But never leave it blank. Always try to answer all your questions, okay? These are some strategies that will help you to be successful at your exams. Again, exams are strategic. If you embrace these strategic practices, you would thrive. In fact, college and university life will be a dream for you. You know, and once you get used to these practices, you will be able to embrace these practices and utilize these practices in your personal life after college and university. So there's some takeaways. So the first takeaway is this academic holistic well-being approach. If you adopt this into your daily life, right, it can help you cultivate a strong foundation of wellness that will benefit you in your academic life and beyond. So because we all want a wellness and health and well-being, or wellness in our mind, body, soul, and spirit, will help us to be the best version of ourselves. So that's important. You want to be the best version of yourself at university or college. You don't just want to pass. I've heard so many students say, Miss, I just want to pass this course. That should not be your thinking. You should want to excel at this course. Second takeaway, embracing wellness is not only about managing the challenges of college and university life, but also about fostering a healthy and balanced approach to living a fulfilling and meaningful life. You don't want to feel as though you dread university or you dread college and you just can't wait for it to end. And so many students feel that way. They express it. Change your perspective. And instead of dreading it, try to develop a healthy approach to college and university life. So it will be a fulfilling and meaningful experience for you. And it goes by very quickly. So try to embrace it and see it differently. Embrace the time. It's a wonderful experience. I usually say this to my students. Many have gone this way before, and they've been successful. They've gotten their degrees or their associate degrees, their masters, and they've gone on to live their life. This is now your turn. This is your turn to journey through this, to sojourn through this experience. And you will graduate and you will go on to live your life. You'll become CEOs and work in corporate Canada, corporate America, wherever you're from. You go on to have your own business and to become multimillionaires. Remember me when you do get to that point as well. But this is just your time to go through this process. Embrace it and be the best that you can be. Third takeaway, embracing wellness also involves prioritizing rest and relaxation, getting adequate sleep and allowing time for relaxation and leisure activities is important for recharging your body, mind, both your body and mind. Creating a healthy balance between work, social activities, and downtime is crucial for overall wellness. Balance it. You can't just bury your head in work. You can't just bury your head in studies. You need to have that balance. Social activities is important. Go out on that date, or take yourself out on a date if you don't have that significant other. Go get a massage, go swimming, whatever activity or social activity that you can do that you would love or that helps you to relax, do that as well. Make sure you have that holistic approach to your life for you to have that overall wellness and for you to enjoy university life and your personal life as well. Fourth takeaway, Learning to manage stress effectively is essential for overall wellness, as chronic stress can have detrimental effects and harm both your physical and mental health and well-being. This is very important for life as a whole, but more so at university. Try whatever you can to manage stress and to be healthy as possible. You don't want to have stress that will become chronic stress. I have seen students literally become derailed by having chronic stress. They've become so stressed out that they're not mentally or cognitively ready to actually sit an exam. And what students used to do, they used to keep delaying the exam, or I'll sit it again, or they just don't show up for the exam. Don't fall into that sort of don't allow yourself to fall into that situation. Be resilient, bounce back, take the time out you need, take the rest that you need, to, go to that social event that you need. Be happy, whatever makes you happy. Interject certain happiness and peacefulness and mindfulness into your life to make sure that you manage your stress. Because life in itself is stressful, and it's becoming more and more stressful. But university life can be stressful because you have all these different professors, you have all these courses, you have all these things to manage, and then you have to manage your life as well. So be intentional, be strategic, and be resilient. Bounce back from it. If you didn't pass, let's say, because students tend to, oh my God, some students tend to think that the world is coming to an end if they don't get a particular grade. It's not coming to an end, guys. If you didn't get an A, if you aimed for an A and you got a B plus, or you aimed for an A plus and you got an A minus, the world is not coming to an end. What that result has shown you is that you have to study a little harder if you want to get an A plus. If you got an A or an A minus, you say, okay, thank you, I got an A minus. Next time I'll get an A plus. That's the approach. Because if you stress out and say to yourself, oh, I'm gonna take this up to the student union, you're putting yourself under too much stress. Try to minimize your stress and use every challenge that has come before you. Use it as a stepping stone to get to the next level. Okay, so try to not to have too much stress. The fifth takeaway: taking a proactive approach to healthcare can help detect and address potential health issues early, ultimately contributing to your overall health and well-being. Yes, I've had students who found out that they had high blood pressure, diabetes, and other multiple illnesses because of the stress at university. Sometimes I've had students, they joined the class and they were like 110 pounds. And midway through the class, they went from 110 pounds to 150 pounds. Just rapid weight gain or rapid weight loss, or their hair started to fall out. And I would call them, I would always have a meeting with my students one-on-one. And then I will ask them questions. So why did you gain so much weight, or why did you lose so much weight? Just things like that. Pay attention to these things, guys, because no one just rapidly, well, some people can, but rapidly gain weight or rapidly lose weight. Pay attention to your body, pay attention to how you're reacting, pay attention and be proactive with your health, okay? And please look after your health. Sixth takeaway: creating a supporting and understanding environment for students can contribute to effective stress relief. Encouraging open communication and emphasizing the importance of self-care and mental well-being will help you be able to navigate the pressures. So try to adopt all the stress relief practices that we've discussed here in this session and try to implement that in your own personal life. Be communicative, don't suffer in silence, don't stay in isolation. Students who tend to, if you're feeling really stressed out, tend to not to attend classes, you tend to be isolated, you want to study alone, you don't want to form a study group, and things like that. So try to avoid yourself falling into that trap, because it really is like, it is a trap. And it will negatively affect your overall health and well-being. It will cause you to become anxious. It will keep you remaining anxious. You'll be depressed, etc., etc. So you want to try to avoid things like that. 7 takeaways. It's important to remember that self-care is a personal journey. And what works for one student may not work for another. Experiment with different strategies and tailor your self-care routine to fit your individual needs and preferences. By prioritizing self-care, you can enhance your overall health, well-being, and resilience as a student. Self-care is really personal. I remember as a student, I used to go for my self-care, I always liked massages, and there was always some sort of cheap place where you could go and get your nails done and a manicure or a pedicure. And that has just always been a part of my life, even as an adult now. But whatever your self-care regime will be, figure out what it is and adopt the strategies. You don't have to you can actually do a manicure, pedicure yourself. I used to braid my friends' hair, both males and females at university. That was a sort of a stress reliever for me, and self-care for them, stress reliever for me. So whatever it is, find what works for you. It doesn't have to break the bank, and just implement it into your life. But try to embrace self-care for yourself. It's very important. And the 8th takeaway is mental health support should be proactive and comprehensive, addressing not only the symptoms of mental health, ill health, but also the underlying factors that contribute to stress and distress amongst college and university students. So look at what factors are causing you to be, what stimulus triggers stress in your life? Is it that, especially at university, is it that you've spent or you've waited too long or too late to start studying? So now you feel completely overwhelmed because you have these 5 courses and the week of, I don't know, the 10th of December, you have all these exams and you feel overwhelmed. Well, that's a factor. What you can do to avoid that chronic stress is start studying earlier. Form a study group. Study groups tend to cover a wide cross-section of topics in a very short period of time, and you're able to summarize the information. Study groups really help with studies, so you can do that. You can talk to your mentors, but just practice all these things that I've shared with you to sort of help you to be able to be strong, healthy, resilient, mindful, to be able to excel at university. Social support and the lack of isolation. Try not to become isolated. Can create a supportive and try to create an environment or be in an environment that helps promote your mental health and well-being. Try to avoid negativity, negative thinking, negative people, negative experiences. So try to stay intentional and strategic in terms of how you spend your time, who you would allow to speak into your life, to avoid excessive stress so that you remain resilient. You're focused, you're mentally focused, you're mentally able to embrace the information shared, retain the information shared, and be able to regurgitate the information in an exam, in a written exam or a multiple choice exam, so that you can pass your overall course. So in summary, embracing wellness involves a holistic approach to caring for the mind, body, and spirit, prioritizing self-care, fostering healthy relationship, maintaining a balanced diet, staying active, pursuing personal goals, practicing mindfulness, managing stress, prioritizing rest, and being proactive about healthcare are all vital components of embracing wellness. By incorporating these takeaways into daily life, students and individuals can enhance your overall well-being and live more fulfilling and a balanced life. And that's what we all strive for, to live for a more fulfilling and a balanced life. So we've looked at the academic holistic well-being approach. It incorporates these 11 points. You will get this PowerPoint so you can keep it for reference. We looked at stress relief and self-care strategies. We looked at how to avoid mental ill health at college and university. And this extends for also life. We want to always maintain positive mental health and well-being. We looked at some of the strategies for managing college and university exams. Very important. Remember the key points I told you. And then we spoke about the key takeaways. So thank you very much.